Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Deciding to Soar, Living Life Your Own Way. My name is Jamison, and I am a minister, a corporate leader, a mom, an entrepreneur, an author, and I am committed to helping people be who they were born to be so that nobody ever settles for being what society has taught and told them to be. And if this is your first time listening to our podcast, I am so glad that you are here. We are an unedited, unscripted conversation where I share what I'm learning in my own life, as well as the wisdom that I am gaining from working with other corporate leaders, other entrepreneurs, other truth tellers, and other healers, people just like you. And together we share our knowledge because I believe that collective wisdom helps all of us win. And so I am grateful that people let me share their stories, and I look forward to also sharing what I'm learning in my own life. Well, today I wanted to start a new series, and I want to entitle it Lessons That I've Learned About Work and Worth from My Elders. And I want to share what I have learned from my elders because when I think about my 40 plus years in corporate America, the lessons that have made me feel safe and successful did not come from mentors in the corporate space or the church space. I didn't learn the lessons that make me feel powerful and equipped from books. I learned the lessons that have helped me the most in my life from the mothers at church, from the big mothers who wore the big hats and gave me candy from the bottom of their purse, and from the deacons and the elders that loved me when I didn't love myself, that spoke life into me, that nourished me, that helped me remember that I was born in the image of my Creator. So I wanted to share some lessons that I have learned from them by sharing some of the things that people have done in my life that have nourished my soul. And one of the lessons I want to share is when I first went to my first corporate dinner with my first pharmaceutical company that I started right out of college. I went to this dinner and I was eating at this restaurant, and they had the most forks and spoons and knife that I've ever seen in my life, because I grew up in, of teenage parents, and we didn't have all those, forks and spoons and goblets, and I did not have experiences with, fancy smancy restaurants. And I remember going to that dinner in that restaurant feeling less than. And even though I felt competent in my skills and my ability and my education, I just felt in my heart that I didn't belong there, that I did not have what it took to sit at those tables at those restaurants, because many times the true business decisions happen at restaurants, at dinner, not at the meetings. And I just felt that I didn't know enough and that I was outmatched and outclassed because I didn't know what fork to use. And that might seem very small to you, but when you are feeling insecure, it's any little thing can make you feel more insecure. And I felt very insecure and very vulnerable. So that Sunday at church, I went to one of my mothers, the mothers at the church, and told her about my experience and how little I felt, and told her I don't know if I am up to corporate America, and I don't know if I belong. And she looked at me and said, "Baby, you got this. God would have never let you get that job if you were not equipped." And so I left feeling a little bit better, but not feeling really good, and also feeling scared that I had to have another business dinner. And if I did, I'm thinking like, oh God, I hope I don't go to another fancy restaurant, because I didn't feel comfortable navigating in that experience because I just felt outmatched. And so the next Sunday I came to church, and after Sunday school, she told me to come to this back room. And when I went to this back room, this deacon who used to work as a waiter at this really fancy restaurant had set up this entire setting to help me understand all the different forks and how to use. Now just think about that. I talked to the mother. She shared with the deacon about me feeling insecure, and during church service, right before church service, they set up this whole setting, and he went through the setting and taught me how to navigate a restaurant, what forks to use, what spoons to use, what plates were mine, what goblet was the water goblet, which one was the wine goblet. And can I tell you, that made my day? It made me feel ready. It made me feel equipped. It made me feel like I was ready for the next dinner meeting. And when you are starting on your new career, or when you are doing something that you've never done before, sometimes it's the smallest things that start to unravel your confidence. And what that mother and that deacon did by sharing that experience taught me 4 important lessons that I want to share with all of you. The first lesson it taught me was that I deserve support. And I think so many times we feel that we don't deserve support, that we have to know everything, and that we have to try to go it along. But I just knew that I didn't want to feel inadequate. I didn't want to feel that vulnerable. I didn't want to feel that I was not ready. And I had to share that because I wanted to feel good and empowered and equipped when I went to those tables with all those other people, especially since I was the only woman there and I was the only Black person there. I didn't want to go and feel like I wasn't equipped and I didn't have what it took to be there. And so I want you to remember that you deserve support. If you're trying something new, if you're in a new space, if you're in a new experience, if you're in a new setting, you deserve support. We are not meant to do life alone. So that's the first lesson it taught me, that I deserve support. And so that's some self-awareness and some self-courage and some self-authority that we have to remember as we navigate new experiences, because if not, we won't grow. The second thing it taught me was to be discerning about who you ask for support from. So I just knew with this mother that I can tell her everything, because she had always cheered for me. She had always loved me. She had always spoke life to me. And so I knew that I can go to her in confidence and tell her that I was feeling less than, that I was feeling that I was incapable of functioning in that setting. And I knew that she was safe. And I think sometimes we have to remember that it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of trust to be transparent. But it's up to us to be discerning, because everyone can be trusted with our truth, and everyone does not have the internal infrastructure to see our weaknesses nor our wounds. But I trusted this mother. So the second thing I want to encourage you to do is be discerning. When you need help, be discerning. And so I knew that I can tell her that I knew that she would cover me and love me. And even when she took me to the back room and told this deacon how they helped me in secrecy, really made me feel that I could be vulnerable. Now you might say, well, Sharon, it was not a big deal. Well, it wasn't a big deal to you, and it was a big deal back then because we're in the mid 80s, right? And I knew that my performance would determine the experiences of others. I knew that I had to do well because I knew that there were other Black women counting on me, right? And so for her to take it upon herself and to know that she was discerning, to know who she could trust, and to have that deacon to lay everything out for me, to teach me, really made my day, and it made me feel strong and powerful and confident. So the third thing that is really important is development, to know how you develop. Back then, there was no internet. Our internet was new. We're talking about the mid 80s. And so I felt scared of going to a restaurant. So I went to the library back then and read some books about etiquette. But I knew that I develop better by hands-on learning. And so I think we need to understand how we develop, because our development is our own responsibility, right? And I had told the mother that, and I didn't even think that she heard me. But when they laid out that entire place setting, and the deacon went through the forks and the spoons one by one by one, I knew that I was learning in a way that I could hold the information and keep the information. And because I was doing it and learning and handling all the different forks, it made me know that I was learning lessons that would stay with me, because that's how I develop. I am a hands-on learner. And so I want you to think about what ways do you learn? Because when you learn how you learn, that's when you will be more successful. And the fourth thing I want to share is that after you know that you deserve support, after you think about who you need to ask for help, after you're discerning, 3, after you know how you develop, the fourth thing is declare it. And that means when people help you, let them know that they are important. Let them know that you appreciate them, and also declare their impact on your life. So many times people help us and they pour into us and they love us and they empower us and they celebrate us. And oftentimes we never know how important they were in our development. We never let them know how important that they were in our journey. So just think about, what happened 40 years ago. It wasn't the boss that helped me with the presentation. It was not the person who helped me be a new leader. It was the person from church, one of my elders, who made me comfortable to be at restaurants and to be at those business dinners so that I can contribute, and so that I could learn, and so that I could show myself that I belonged, but also show everyone at the table that I had value, but also show that more people like me need to be part of the process, need to be part of the meetings, need to be part of decisions. And all of that started because I asked for help, and I asked the right person for help, and they helped me develop in ways that were meaningful. So I want you to think about your life. Think about what you might not feel really secure about. Think about something that you want to be better at. And even if you think it's small, it's important to remember that sometimes the smallest things are what help us make the biggest leaps in our lives. Sometimes it's the smallest things that unravel our confidence. But sometimes it's the smallest things that make us remember that we know enough, that we are enough, so that we could take those small steps and then take those big leaps so that we can be who we were born to be. Now, the mother and deacon who helped me, they have gone, and now they are in a cloud of witnesses. But I'm always reminded that their help was what made me feel as if I belonged. It was their help that made me know that I could do this, that I could be in corporate spaces. And because of their help, not only did I be able to fulfill my corporate experience in my corporate career, I was able to be an entrepreneur, and I was able to do other things in my life because that seed of confidence was watered and it bloomed. And when I think about where I am today, I can always go back to that mother at the front of the row with the big hat who helped me believe in myself. And that was one of the points in my life where I knew that I could be more than what society taught me to be, that I could be who I felt that I was born to be, and I did not have to be her alone. So I hope this message blesses you. Down below, share with me your experience. Who helped you? And what did they help you do? And how did you honor that experience? And how are you continuing to pass on the good work that someone did for you to others? So thanks so much for listening to me today. I hope it blessed you. I hope you remember that you deserve support. I hope you remember to be discerning. I hope you remember to understand how you develop so you can grow. And most of all, I hope you declare to others the impact that that special someone has had on your life. Thanks so much for listening, and blessings to you always.